For the comfort and safety of fellow cinema patrons, please practice social distancing. Please maintain personal hygiene. Please wear a mask if required. Please get on the beers. Finally, enjoy the apocalypse.
There is only one master, and his name is Satan.
Okay, so last week I went to Monster Fest. For those who don't know, it's an Australian movie festival that's like a celebration of genre films like sci-fi and horror mostly. Basically, it's just a celebration of the weird and the wonderful. I've always wanted to go, but I never actually did. And then this year I moved to Melbourne, which was kind of unfortunate with like the whole coronavirus thing, but with cinemas opening back up, it meant that they could put on Monster Fest, you know, a bit later, and it was kind of awesome.
What I'm about to show you has only been known to a handful of people. Even less have ever seen this. This is Project Rainfall.
So the first film I saw was Occupation Rainfall. Now this film was 95% complete. They prefaced it with a warning saying that most of what we saw would be indicative of the final product, but there were a few VFX shots that were unfinished, which, I could kind of tell which ones they were. This is a Australian sci-fi film. I read that the budget was just north of 10 million, which is fairly modest for a film of this scale. It's a sequel to Occupation from 2018, which I did see after having seen Rainfall. It takes place a number of years after the world has been invaded by aliens, and it follows a group of humans and an alien or two in a resistance movement as they try and create peace for both sides of the conflict. It's directed by Luke Spark and stars Dan Ewing and Ken Jeong. Ken Jeong is of course known mostly from his roles in the Hangover trilogy and Community.
No, I'm going back in. Why?
Monkey took my spoon.
He offers comedic relief, which in any other movie I might find a bit cringy, but considering Rainfall has been taking itself mostly pretty seriously up until this point, it offers some nice levity before the third act conflict. He plays a CIA operative who's been cooped up in the Pine Gap surveillance base and is joined by a mustache-wearing alien played by Jason Isaacs, who you might recognize as Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter films. Tamara Morrison also reprises his role from the first film, who many would know as Jango Fett in the Star Wars prequels, and Aquaman's dad in the critical and box office hit Aquaman. Going back to that point about the unfinished visual effects, there was one scene in particular that stood out where our heroes are riding alien horse creatures, and I remember a bunch of people laughing for a split second as it cuts to this static wide shot of the action. Even if the shot was complete, I feel like it's just going to look goofy. If you're hampered by budget, there are ways you can frame things to get around your limitations, and having this flat shot of two guys, one in alien makeup, riding CGI monster dogs against a green screen requires some really strong visual effects to not look dodgy. I won't cover much of the plot because it's mostly your standard alien movie affair with an Australian sting. It's like the Castle with Goombas. It's like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, if that desert was on Mars. It's like Neighbours, but the neighbours are actually from very far away. Overall, this movie isn't going to offer much in terms of surprises. It's aiming squarely at blockbuster thrills on a shoestring budget, and it mostly delivers. It's an alien invasion film through and through. Weirdly enough, it reminded me of Independence Day Resurgence, which I'm sure no one has thought of since that movie came out, though this film has all the heart that ID2 lacked. It even promises that the story will be continued in a similar fashion, and here's hoping they can find support to double the budget again, because I can see this franchise reviving interest in the alien Armageddon genre. 6 out of 10, worth watching for the novelty of seeing Sydney destroyed by aliens. Couldn't help but be reminded of the giant robot from Monsters vs. Aliens every time I saw these.
Bruh.